I'm the man, yes sir, to kill the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for I would label the drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the pack of Lewiz.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding because we all came from hunger pain.
Yes, sir, let's do it. Late LK at OneYoungsta, holding down, bringing that StreetGeek and NERDSoul. What is up, my people, today or year? Coming with another wonderful episode of NERDSoul Sports. We are chilling right now. We're doing it easy. I think this should be easy for us all to kind of ruminate over, postulate, I guess, if you will. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, hey, yo, we do hip hop and geek every now and then. We step into sports and all that good stuff. But of course, if you have not found a home for your blurtish, for your blurred type fascinations, if you have not found a home for things to be yourself, if you've not found a home to be black and intellectual, won't you come? Won't you come? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe, and let's have some fun. So tonight, as you can see, we're talking about new school mentality, old school mentality of basketball, and of course, involving Shaq's comments and Damian Lillard about him being in Portland, things of that nature. I also wanted to give a big shout out, as you can see, to Blurtish. That's why I confused me when I was talking, because Blurtish, shout out to Keith and Mark, Dub, doing their thing down in the South. So, I'm a fan of Shaq. And I know there's a lot of people that ain't a fan of Shaq. Shaq, you know, big Shaq daddy doing his thing. But I'm a fan of Shaq. I'm a fan of Damian Lillard too. Yo. And I know they've already had their hip hop beef. That's a whole nother thing. But this week we've been having updates and comments and talking points around Damian Lillard. Well, trade rumors have been going on about him for a while, but of course, you know, most recently there's been some more statements from Shaq in his situation, because a lot of people are talking about, like, where is he going to leave? Where is he going to go? The fans don't like him. People are mad about the coach and they don't want him there. They do want him there. Then people subtweeting folks, and then people being, you know, kind of like subversive with their speak in their interviews. So we don't know where he's going to go. So people are saying he should go here, he should go there. So Shaq weighs in with, quote, Damian Lillard needs to switch up his old school mentality. And that's basically him giving advice to Damian Lillard, saying like, hey, yo, look, man, you got to go. If you want to win, if you want to kind of be in the upper echelons of rap, nah. But if you wanna win championships, go deep into the playoffs, things of that nature, you have to align yourself with other players. And I think we have enough information now to know that Portland isn't really trying to bring anyone in to help. Some of it has to do with money. Some of it has to do with kind of what people have called a mentality around the ownership there. So that's another thing too. But to get into his statements, before we get into the statements, big shout out to Thought Crimes, Jenna James, big shout out to Tyler Bennett, big shout out to Enrique Carrion, dope comic called Phenomic. Big shout out to, of course, Dr. Lily. Shouts to Blurtish and Blurred Over. So in his and some of the quote that Shaq said earlier was, he's an old school mentality guy playing in the new school. The old school guy would say, quote, I'm not teaming up with you. I'm going to beat you. These new school guys would say, hey, let's team up and make it easier. So that's the toughest decision for him. And to a certain degree, I can't say that I know what's in Damian Lillard's mind, but he does seem to have an energy around him where he's like, I want to stay here. I want to make it work here. I want to win here. But I'm not sure if I'm not sure if Portland has the same energy towards Damian Lillard and winning that Damian Lillard has towards the organization and winning. If that kind of helps show where I think the decision or the breakup is. And these days, organizations that have a star player don't seem to really care about aligning that player with, extra people too much. It's mostly like, yo, look, hey, we got a star player. We selling some tickets. That's it. We'll trade them if we want to. You know what I'm saying? If we feel like it, we'll trade them. No big deal. But we're also not going to. We're also not going to get into the whole idea of him being paired with other people because of the cap, because of, ticket sales, or because just ego. So when you deal with a situation where there's someone who's like focused on staying like that, you could see it as a problem because it doesn't really fit or jive with the kind of with the attitude and the atmosphere out in the industry today. So Shaq goes further to say, I know he wants to stay in Portland and win it out. He may have to switch up his mentality. If everyone else is doing it, then that's just going to keep him further from winning a championship. I don't like guys teaming up, but it's just the way nowadays. And it kind of goes to this part of this where, yes, Shaq is definitely from a older era than the era we're in now. And you have this situation where back in, say, Karl Malone's days or Magic's days, or Jordan or Larry Bird, or even further beyond them, there was this kind of team loyalty thing. But also remember the organizations have changed. Now people get traded. People like the organization will call you and say like, hey guy, don't worry about it. We're never going to trade you. You're in good with us. We love you and we're glad to have you. And then after the phone call, they will trade you. Like yo, they will trade you so hard. Like, look, there's situations where people have been traded on the way to team events. Like, people will trade you while you on the plane. People will trade you while you getting an award. People will trade you when you coming out the locker room to go play for the team. Like, so players don't feel the same number of, or the same amount of, reciprocity when it comes to like the loyalty of staying at a team. And I think one big moment that we had was, I say LeBron. When LeBron had his decision, which I loved as well. When LeBron had his decision, I think it made a big point to say, hey, this is the player or players taking back some power. And what I mean by that is, in the league, when it comes to pressure to play when it comes to player perception or the perception of a player. A lot of it is run and controlled by the organization. And now we don't really have that as much because things are starting to shift with a lot of players taking more of a active role in the course of their career as a player. Now, back to Shaq's statement. Shaq also said something to the extent of, his statement was, I don't like guys teaming up, but that's just the way nowadays. Now, I like the Lakers, and I'm sure a lot of people like the Lakers. I like Shaq, you like Shaq, everybody likes Shaq, whatever. But Shaq, you didn't have to team up because, what up, Shango Zulu? Like, Shaq, you didn't have to team up. You were with Anthony Hardaway in Orlando, and if you want to know how much of the truth Anthony Hardaway was, he had a big injury and he never really came back to full 100% like he was. But go watch those tapes of Anthony Hardaway before he got injured. Anthony Hardaway was the realness. So, like, dude, let's not front. Like, Orlando was sweet when you were there. And it wasn't sweet just because of you. So the issue is because there's a lot of older players that were on teams that didn't need any more help. That'll jump up on you and be like, well, I don't like the idea that these guys are teaming up nowadays. And it's like, well, you didn't need to team up in your career because your career was already sweet. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't need to team up because, like, your joint was already on point. So you weren't playing in, like, I don't know, like, you weren't playing at, like, Cleveland when they were horrible. You know, well, I mean, I guess back now, but still, you know what I mean? You weren't playing with these teams when they were bad. So to tell Damian Lillard, like, hey, you might have to team up with people, even though I don't like it like that. It's like, well, when you were in Orlando was sweet, and then you went to LA, and as you went to LA was already okay. They were already decent. But then Kobe comes into prominence, and then y'all become the LA that, like, I guess you could say modern history remembers. So, I don't know. Is this like nostalgia thing that a lot of older players seem to forget when they talk about these younger players kind of getting together on the same team? It's like, well, you didn't have to get together with someone else because you were dope. Like, even as a sidestep, when LeBron went to Miami, I remember Magic said something to the negative, and so did Jordan. And I was like, yo, as for Magic, wasn't your whole starting line like Hall of Famers? Like, let's not act like you didn't play with sweet people. Like, or Jordan, it's like, bruh, like, how many times was Scottie Pippen like all defense? Like, dude, you had like Rodman, you had Kukoc, you had John Paxson that was ill. You even had BJ Ark, like, yo, don't sleep. You were after the bad days. Once you had the new recruitment process come in, you were always surrounded by shooters, like pure shooters, and you had Scottie Pippen there that arguably was a harder worker than you were. Now, I'm just talking about on the floor. I'm talking about, Scottie Pippen's kind of blue collar work on the court freed you up to be able to be Jordan. So this idea that like older players are like, oh, well, I don't like teaming up with other people. That's not my thing. It's like, well, at the same time, you didn't have to because your team was already dope. So, okay, back to this. Back to Damian Lillard. I personally think he's spent enough time waiting to see if the organization would actually change things. Like, say, like, hey, like, are they going to do something for me Or is it going to be a situation where I'm just stuck out here all by myself? Like, I'm just stuck out here by myself. Like, I'm never, ever going to get any substantial help. Not saying, like, don't get me wrong. Before we go any further talking about these players, everyone in the league is like a certain level of good. Like, don't get me twisted. But when you're coming up, especially playoff time, against teams that have multiple superstars, or in the terms of the Bucks, multiple people that could be superstars, but they're all kind of like overlooked. Because when you look at the Bucks, you're like, yo, this is a solid butt team. Like, but when is he going to get that kind of help? And I think that he has spent long enough, similar to my statement about LeBron, him leaving the Cleveland the first time. I think he spent enough time there to see how this would play out. And I think the organization has shown him enough that maybe it's time to just move on. They've had enough time to give you real players. And of course, being someone who likes the Lakers, I'm like, yo, look, hey, go straight over to the Lakers. But there are some other interesting picks that have been thrown around. I just think that maybe Portland ain't the shot no more. You know what I'm saying? And I think enough people have kind of broken this situation down to see, long enough to see if the organization would change. And I honestly thought by now we'd have gotten a sort of like an announcement saying like, hey, such and such is coming to Portland. These two people are coming to Portland, and it's going to change everything kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, these two people are coming, so don't worry, guys. Portland is in great shape because these 2 or 3 people are coming, and or these 2 people in a pick or something like that. But there hasn't been, and maybe I'm tripping. Let me know. Maybe Portland has picked up what I would consider substantial help. I don't think so, but maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe so. Maybe I'm out here just like listening to Shaq, then thinking about what's going on in the offseason as of late, and then being like, you know what I'm saying? Because that's where I'm at. I'm like, I don't think, I don't feel it. I don't feel or I haven't felt the sense of urgency from the Portland organization being like, oh, yeah, we got to get someone in here right now. Like, Damian Lillard is the truth. We got to get someone out here. I think Portland is content being someone who has a star, who might dip their toe in the playoffs, but maybe not be as dangerous or as viable in the playoffs as they could be. But yeah, that's where I'm at on it. I think that's where I'm at on it. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I don't know if they're gonna bring anybody ever, and sadly, I don't think Damian's gone. I think he's definitely had his eyes open. But for me, I think it's going to be another season or 2 before he really drops the hammer, which I would say probably should have dropped the hammer last season, but this season definitely. But guys, of course, holler at me. I'm going to holler at you. Down in them comments, let's talk about this, man. First, let's talk about the old school versus new school mentality. I think a lot of older players don't really realize the type of teams that they had, maybe, or maybe there's this kind of like nostalgic idea where it's like, I did it all on my own. And then what y'all trying to see outside of LA? Because of course I'm gonna say LA. Outside of that, where does he go? Who has the money? Well, Dame could take a pay cut. I mean, of course, we know, you know what I'm saying? You start saying like, hey, don't take no more money. But depending on the team, can they afford him? And where does he go to immediately make someone viable outside of like New York or LA? Because I think New York is, they might be close. I think New York is kind of close, especially with their off-season stuff. I think they're kind of close with, maybe, you know what, maybe I'm speaking too soon, but I think New York is closer than we think to literally getting into the finals. New York was looking pretty solid, yo. Like they really were. But with that said, guys, of course, NERDSoul, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places, hit that thumbs up. If you like what you're seeing, some convo, all that good stuff, or you give that thumbs down. You hit that thumbs down, I'm gonna send Dame Dolla. No, I'm gonna send Shaq Daddy after you. All right, Shaq gonna come kick your door down. You know he's the sheriff. He has a license to kill. That's what he's gonna do. So,
like Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Like Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Like Miles Morales.
Like Miles Morales. You coming over here? You he gonna pose for y'all. So anyway, guys. Of course, podcast for listening, Spotify for that music. We're going to leave y'all with P.L. Parker Lewis and Arckatron. From us to you, we're just saying thank you.
Parker Lewis.
Yeah, P.L. Parker Lewis. That's what we're going to do. And Arckatron.
That's right.
Thank you. And show put it up there. Get to him. There you go. Anyway, we out, guys. From us to you, give them the woo. Peace. Oh boy, I tell you, this boy ain't nothing to the truth. Boy, look, where are you going? As you can see, this is what I have to deal with. You see, y'all, this is what's going on. You see how I just crawl all over your dad, beat up you. I love y'all too. Peace.
I'm the man, yes sir, that killed a bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for our legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the Parker Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dallas rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding cause we all came from hunger pain.